Hey everyone, so every semester, graphing parabolas in standard form on Khan Academy becomes like the bane of people's existence. The reality is that the way that the system organizes things is weird. It doesn't really know if you have like a vertex that's half 5, like the x value is half and the y value is 5. It doesn't know how to do that. It's not sensitive enough. Well, why would I give you something that drives you insane and doesn't work properly? Because the state, it will give you a test at the end of this course, part B of it anyway, and they will have stuff set up that will probably work similar to this because that's how it always goes. They always promise they're going to get everything done on time, and then their nonsense pops out, and it's not nearly as good as they think it is. But let's talk about how to get this. Like, what your normal move would be to find the vertex first. So you just do negative b over 2a, negative 4 over 2 times 1, which is 2, so negative 2. That's your x component of your vertex. The axis of symmetry, right there. Um, for your b value, or for your y value, you just plug in negative 2 into the equation. So 4 minus 8 minus 3, which gives you negative 7. So that's my vertex. Now in this case, it might very well work that you could put the vertex where you want it to. I just sling this over somewhere. And then negative 2 and negative 7. But as you can see, where the other dots are located impacts where the actual vertex is shown in the graph, because it works off of those things being related. So instead of it being the vertex that you want it to be, it's like you would just kind of guesstimate and pull this up as far as you can and just hope. Well, the system won't recognize that as being an appropriate answer. So my suggestion is just to find values. If you could find the axis of symmetry, awesome. If you can't, it's not the worst thing in the world. Here's how you find your points. Since this is negative 2 and 7, I'm going to leave this like kind of in here. I'm going to look to see what x values, and you can pick any x values that you want as long as you could fit them into the graph. But I think that probably 2 has something that's meaningful to me here, so I'm just going to plug in 2 as my x value. 2 squared plus 4 times 2 minus 3. So positive 4 plus 8 minus 3 gives me 9. So that means when I plugged in 2, I got 9. So I'm going to make that one of my points. And it's pretty close to what was shown on this graph anyway, but not exactly. And it seems like, why would that matter? Well, it kind of does. Here I'm going to do negative 5, and I could have chosen anything. Any 3 will work as long as it sort of gives you the general shape that you want, but negative 5 seems like maybe it's a place I could go. So I'll try that. Negative 5 squared plus 4 times negative 5 minus 3. So negative 5 squared will be 25, of course. Make sure you put this in parentheses. Minus 20 minus 3. So when I plugged in 5, I ended up getting 2. Or negative 5, sorry. Negative 5. That matters. So I'll go over and do, at negative 5, I should go somewhere into the... Sorry, my thing glitched out. Negative 5 and 2, so I'm going to do this. And see, now I have points on the graph, and I'll click it. And it's correct. If I'd only done one of those points, if I'd just done it the first time where I found the vertex, then that's the case. If you have a vertex that's the x value is a fraction, or your axis of symmetry is a fraction. So say I had something at 1/2. I've done one before that did. I would try to find the point I could get at 1 and the point I could get at 0. Just go to the two parts around it and choose those x values first and see what kind of graph it gives you. And always, if it's possible, graph it out on something else, your emulator, on a calculator, on a graphing calculator, whatever, or like an online graphing calculator, whatever it happens to be, so you can get a good feel for whether it ever hits or not. In some cases, you can factor them out. You might have been able to do a little bit of that, in this situation if it weren't for the fact that the signs don't really match. But in general, they don't pick ones that factor well. But you can almost always find your y-intercept by just setting x equal to 0. But you can find any point that way. Just substitute your x's in, get your y values that match, and then make your point. Make sure it looks a little bit like what it's supposed to, and 9 times out of 10, it'll be correct. Just don't try to find the vertex and hope, fingers crossed, that that works great for you. So that's it.